You're listening to The Cultured Bumpkin, a literature podcast with Jake Phillips, where we present audiobook quality readings of the classics for your enjoyment. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, just because you're a bumpkin doesn't mean you can't be cultured. Hello and welcome to The Cultured Bumpkin. Today we're going to read a poem by Donne that was written a few decades after Christopher Marlowe's A Passionate Shepherd to His Love. And yet both of these start with the very same first line. So no doubt, Donne was sort of paying homage to Christopher Marlowe, but he's also describing love in a different way than Marlowe did. Maybe love with its flaws instead of without them, or whatever the case may be. You ought to go and read Christopher Marlowe's A Passionate Shepherd to His Love and compare it to this. So before we get started, remember, if you want to support The Cultured Bumpkin in some way, there are multiple ways, some free, some with silver American cartwheels or other forms of currency. You can check the show notes, okay? So, let's get into the poem. It's called The Bait by Donne. Come live with me and be my love, and we will some new pleasures prove of golden sands and crystal brooks with silken lines and silver hooks. There will the river whispering run, warmed by thy eyes more than the sun. And there the enamored fish will stay, begging themselves they may betray. When thou wilt swim in that live bath, each fish with every channel hath will amorously to thee swim, gladder to catch thee than thou him. If thou to be so seen beest loath by sun or moon, the darkest both, and if myself have leave to thee, I need not their light, having thee. Let others freeze with angling reeds, and cut their legs with shells and weeds, or treacherously poor fish beset with strangling nature or windowy net. Let coarse bold hands from slimy nest the bedded fish in banks outrest, or curious traders, sleeve silk flies, bewitch poor fish's wandering eyes. For thee thou needest no such deceit, for thou thyself art thine own bait. That fish that is not catched thereby, alas, is wiser far than I. That was The Bait by Donne. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you'll subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend. Thank you very much for listening. You've been listening to The Cultured Bumpkin, a literature podcast with Jake Phillips. Thank you very much for listening. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this, would you mind going and subscribing and leaving a nice review on whatever podcast platform you heard this on? I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.